was calm in public but politically firm. He was not known as a loud politician, but his influence was widely felt, especially in Rift Valley politics. Kosgei was among a small group of politicians who served as cabinet ministers in both the Moi and Kibaki administrations. After Kanu lost power in 2002, Kosgei began repositioning himself. Although Moi backed President Kibaki, Kosgei eventually left Kanu and aligned himself with the emerging Orange movement. The 2005 constitutional referendum gave him a political lifeline. He joined the Orange camp that opposed the draft constitution prepared under the Kibaki government. The Orange camp included Raila Odinga, Uhuru Kenyatta, William Ruto, Kalonzo Musyoka, Musalia Mudavadi, and Najib Balala. After the Orange side won the referendum, the movement evolved into ODM Kenya, with Kosgei serving as interim chairman. When ODM Kenya split ahead of the 2007 elections, Kosgei sided with Raila Odinga and was elected again as Tinderet Member of Parliament on an ODM ticket. Following the disputed 2007 general election and the post-election violence that followed, Kosgei was among opposition leaders who supported efforts to heal the country. In March 2008, he helped mobilize ODM MPs to endorse the handshake between President Kibaki and Raila Odinga, paving the way for the Grand Coalition government. In April 2008, Kosgei was appointed Minister for Industrialization in the expanded cabinet. As minister, he oversaw the implementation of key industrial policy, including elements of Vision 2030, promotion of quality products, support for domestic and foreign investment, and supervision of several parastatals under the ministry. He also played a role in the establishment of anti-counterfeiting agency and promoted industrial development through partnerships such as the memorandum between Kenya Industrial Estates and India's National Small Industries Corporation. His tenure, however, was not without controversy. In 2009, he was summoned by the Parliamentary Committee on Implementation over concerns about his ministry's performance. He was also questioned over the irregular sale of subsidized maize, a scandal that implicated several political figures. In January 2011, Kosgei resigned as industrialization minister after accusation that he facilitated the importation of vehicles older than the 8-year legal limit. He denied any wrongdoing, saying his actions were above reproach. The accusations later collapsed and he was reinstated to cabinet in August 2012. Kosgei also faced one of the lowest moments of his career when he appeared before the International Criminal Court at The Hague over allegations relating to the 2007-2008 post-election violence. He was accused of being among planners of violence, but the charges were later dropped. Throughout his career, Kosgei faced many allegations, including claims of corruption and abuse of office. But he was never convicted. His political survival was also evident in party politics. After decades as a KANU loyalist and vice chairman, he later dismissed the party as an empty shell when it lost political relevance. He also fought for influence within KANU after Moi's retirement, at one time clashing with Nicholas Biwott over the political direction of the Kalenjin community. Within ODM, Kosgei played a major role in building the party into a national movement and ensuring broad regional representation in its leadership. However, his electoral fortunes later declined. He failed to win the Nandi Senate seat in 2013 and later lost the Nandi gubernatorial race in 2017. Since 2017, Henry Kosgei has largely stepped back from frontline elective politics.
Good morning and welcome to News Check on this, the 9th of June 2026. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. Our keen focus for the first hour will be on the ongoing debate on school unrest. That will be a focus on the first hour. On the second hour, we'll be looking at the implications following the three-judge bench ruling that was made yesterday at the Milimani Law Courts in regards to the DCP party leader, that is Rigathi Gachagua. That will be our two focus on those particular topics. You can talk to us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 and at Abdiaziz Hashim 2. And on the first hour, the country is experiencing a severe wave of school unrest marked by student protests, walkouts and suspected arson attacks on dormitories. Now, several institutions have been closed indefinitely, forcing the National Security Advisory Committee to hold emergency meetings to address the escalating crisis across the country. Now, the situation, of course, was triggered by the unfortunate incident that was witnessed at the Utumishi Girls Academy in Gilgil, Nakuru County, where a dormitory fire claimed the lives of 16 students there. And of course, the parents of the girls who died will wait longer before receiving the bodies, even after identifying them, after being informed that burials will only take place following a joint memorial mass planned for June the 17th. And of course, some of the issues that the institutions or learners from those particular institutions that have closed, some indefinitely, others have been closed temporarily, are raising is the unrest has traced a variety of factors, including severe infrastructure congestion, poor diet and food shortages, academic pressure regarding upcoming national exams, and a general disciplinary disputes. Now, some of the measures that have been instituted by the government through the Ministry of Education is to prevent such a tragedy. The Education Cabinet Secretary, that is Julius Migoso Gamba, has directed schools to increase the number of teachers on duty, especially during evening preps and all the dormitories, while improving communication between administrators and learners. Now, schools are also required to tighten supervisions of learners, emergency board of management meetings, and deployment of additional inspectors in a bid to contain the situation that has already led to deadly incidents that we have witnessed, especially in Utumishi, injuries and widespread disruption of learning. And also, the ministry has directed the county education boards have also been tasked with supporting schools as the ministry works with security teams and administrators to prevent further unrest and protect property. The ministry is also planning to strengthen inspection systems through the third hiring of more quality assurance and standards officers. Now, following the incidences that we've witnessed for the past few weeks in the country, there have been calls to abolish boarding schools growing as students' unrest escalates. Now, this is a particular topic we'll be focusing on. Should we do away with boarding schools? Should the students go to day schools? That is the conversation that is happening within the education sector. And of course, given that a portion of the blames are being thrown here to the parents, the learners, the teachers. What is the way forward, not only for these learners, but the Ministry of Education, especially for that education system, and of course the society at large? You can talk to us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 and at Abdiaziz Hashim 2. We'll be sampling some of the views as the show continues, and that's why we'll have a panel of experts with me this morning, especially for the first hour. That's where we have a representative here from the church, that is Reverend Dr. Elias Agola, the chair of NCCK, here with us. He's a familiar face and we'll be talking to him. Also, we do have Silas David Obohatsa, the national chairman of Parents Association, and later on we'll be joined by Roni Ochieng, a counseling psychologist at the Pamoja Mental Health and Safeguard Network. Of course, to chart a way forward on how this particular issue can be addressed. It is something that has been witnessed in the past. Now it has exacerbated for the last few weeks or so. First of all, let me get to reintroduce once more Reverend Dr. Elias Agole, chairman of NCCK. Reverend, karibu sana.
Asante sana Abdi.
Thank you so much, Reverend, for being with us this morning.
Good morning, viewers.
Yes. And then Silas David Obohatsa, the National Chairman, Parents Association. Familiar faces to talk to here with us. Let me start with you, Reverend. We've witnessed what have been happening across various institutions for the last few weeks or so. Unfortunately, we lost young souls, 16 of them in Utumishi. In terms of where we are headed in the education system and what we are seeing from these particular institutions, what is your general view first?
First, allow me to greet all Kenyans and to give them hope that there is always hope in every situation. And when there is a crisis, there is an opportunity to serve, and there is also an opportunity to save. I would like to record also the condolences to these families and to ask that they remain hopeful that God is in control, although the loss is heavy. And as we saw, some even lost their only children. It is very unfortunate that this had to take place. As a church, we are with you, and we are praying that God will give you the comfort that you require. And again, we need to say that Kenya stands at a critical moment, marked by so many things. And when added to this kind of tragic happenings, then it becomes very heavy for us as leaders in this country today, even to know what to do and what to say, but only to say that we need to up our game and do a lot more, even as we continue consoling with the families that lost their loved ones. And even those that are still in the hospitals, we still pray that there is quick healing on them and quick recovery. Thank you.
Silas, I know you're handling a lot of parents, not only teachers, but also parents of these affected institutions, including Otumishi. What are the parents telling you as of now?
Just as Dr. has said, the church is with these parents. Even us with the Parents Association, we are with all the parents, especially those that are mourning right now.
Yes.
We have those parents that have their children that they will never see again. They don't only hear about them. We have those that have their children right now in the hospital and are going treatment after very painful kind of suffering. And we have those parents that actually their children escaped narrowly from this incident. So that being the case, we are saying that as a nation, we need to be together, move together, and support these parents. As we talk about these issues, we are praying that this issue should not be politicized, should not become a political kind of an issue, because it's touching everybody. It's touching everybody. It's touching everybody, even where parents are right now, they are feeling it. So the question is, what is happening in our schools? Because when I was in school, or when Dr. was in school, those days, this will be rare things to be heard of, as I'm saying right now. You hardly hear about schools burning, students fighting in schools, even just students abusing teachers. Those are rare things. They will not be heard about. But of late, things have changed. So as time goes, you know, with the technology, the whole world around, everything is changing. With the ICT in place, with the AI in place, many things are happening. And therefore, we want to understand, we want to work as a team to establish the causes, especially of fires in schools or these kinds of disasters. Because when I was here the other day, I talked about a number of disasters that are happening in schools. Right now, we are only focusing on fire. But there is a school where parents called me and told me that the toilets for the students were closed. The students are sharing toilets with the teachers, and it's only a single toilet. The teachers and the students are sharing the same toilet, and this is a mixed school. Female students and male students in the same school. What about if anything happens in this school to a student? Now, who takes that responsibility? So there are many disasters in waiting in schools, which the government must be able to work with all stakeholders quickly to address. Not only fires.
Sure.
Yes, that's what I can say.
And Reverend, NCCK also issued a statement towards whatever we saw within the country, especially what happened. In terms of the root causes they are talking about, because we know the church also speaks to these learners on a single daily basis, even to the parents. Do you believe that some of the issues they are raising, including severe infrastructure, poor diet, food shortages, academic pressure, and upcoming national exams, are a big factor to whatever we are seeing?
Thank you very much. Yes, I think, as my colleague here said, we need to have a focused intervention when we have such tragedies. And our focus must remain the stability of our country, the inclusivity in our engagements, the restoration of public confidence also in our institutions. As NCCK and as you take note, by now over 50 institutions, that is schools, have been closed. And even this morning as I was coming, many have been closed because I received phone calls. And NCCK is saying that let's not handle the surface. Let's not handle the symptoms. Let's handle the deep-rooted issues. And one of such these deep-rooted issues is the infrastructural development in our schools. You know that just the other day, although we don't have Form 2s, we have grade 10s who are very many. And something happened that they were enlisted in numbers. They were admitted in schools in great numbers. Not even the numbers that are covering the Form 2s, but that are over and above what would have been today with the Form 1s and Form 2s. And this created a crisis, an infrastructural crisis. The chair of the PTA has just said that students are sharing toilets with the teachers. And if you go to some schools, and Utumishi is one of them, the findings are that some students were sleeping in the corridors. A school of that magnitude. The other day again, we had Alliance Boys, and the issues around infrastructural development of the schools remain key. And if it is not handled, then even when these children come back from wherever, first midterm or holidays or when they expulsion or whatever, they are coming to the same institutions. They are coming where the infrastructures are not accommodative to all of them. And we, as a church, we are saying this should have been given a priority before we get the high numbers that are enrolled in these schools. And these children are also complaining about so many things. The issues around food, the issues around being listened to, the issues around the kind of discipline that they are given, which is not even discipline, sometimes it is punishment. And so there is a need to separate between punishment and the discipline and know the difference, so that when we are correcting these children, how do we handle them? Again, you have mentioned the issues of technology. The technology that we have, when he was in school, I am not sure we used to have these TVs that are there today. I'm not sure we were listening to the news. I'm not sure the technological advancement was at that level. But today we have the world at our disposal. We are in what we call a global village. And there is something happening in other parts of the world, leave alone in this country, reaches people real time. And when it reaches people real time, then people begin to react. And it is unfortunate that we are reacting to circumstances when they happen, while we had the opportunity to even proact. We had the opportunity to act before now we begin reacting. And when you are reacting, it means therefore that you are in a crisis. And when you are in a crisis, you need to manage that crisis. In crisis, people don't solve things. They manage that crisis. They see what can be done, okay? And they are able now to ask themselves very quickly, what can be done in this situation, which is not a precedence anywhere else? What can we do? For example, here, we are waiting for every school to riot. You heard what the Bungoma boys were saying. If Alliance can riot, then what are we not going to do? If there is unrest in these, big named schools, then what about us? Why can't we also do it? What are we still waiting here? So are we waiting for all the schools to be burnt down by students? Or are we going to proact and say, let us draw near the midterm that is supposed to be there, so that in this time we will be able to handle these issues soberly. We can call for stakeholder engagement bring in the leadership in the churches, bring in the leadership in the parent associations. The government comes and talks soberly, because I heard one person talk not in a sober way at all. You cannot say if they cannot do exams, then let them go home. No. That is a reckless statement. We need statements that are going to be, healing, statements that when they are made, we are sure we can go by them and we are able to defend those statements. We need a statement that is going to bring soberness in these schools. Look at what is happening in schools with regards to capitation. The monies are getting delayed. The parents don't know what to do. And some people are dependent on this capitation. They are dependent on this capitation. And when capitation comes, that is when they are able to be in school. Now, capitation is delayed, although we have PR statements that the capitation has been released on time or even before time. But that's not true. The truth of the matter is the head teachers, the heads of institutions, the principals in schools are suffering. They don't know what to do with these children in school because they don't have money to feed them. And the little that they have, that maybe is what they are sharing. But will the children understand? They may not understand. We are parents, and at home, even when you don't have money, they still expect the good meal. They still expect everything else. But now the little money that these teachers have is what they are trying to squeeze so that at least these children remain in school. I'm not saying that, going on rampage with regards to feeding is justified. It is not. But remember, what are the root causes? How can we go deep into this? What can the government do to enhance some of these supplies that are supposed to be done? We cannot be getting money for campaigns everywhere, and we are not getting money for our education systems.
Okay.
We cannot be getting money for other things, and we cannot get money for the future of this nation, which lies in the person of our students in schools.
But Silas, very valid points from Reverend here. In terms of reacting, because this is not the first incidents we have witnessed here in the country. It is something that even started in the 21st century in this particular country, from the 2000s all the way up to the current 2026. In terms of learning our lesson, how can we learn from those lessons and even now to ensure we do not foresee this again?
I'll begin by saying that Daktari has talked and the whole world has heard what he has said. And I come to the first point. I have a number of things to mention. One, as I say, that this is something that is holistic. It's for everybody. These incidents that are happening right now, and you're mainly focusing on burning of schools. These are disasters that are affecting everybody. Not only the president, not only the minister, not only the PS, not only Murkomen. He has talked about other stakeholders. The church. Where is the position of the church in this ongoing security matters? Where is the position of the Parents Association, the head of parents? Where is the position of the teacher unions and teacher associations in these discussions when they are doing this? So they should tell. Where is the representation of children? Because you have children parliaments in schools. So where are the children? Where do you have children sitting in these discussions saying that this is what we see in schools? So it's holistic that everyone must be involved. The second question is, let us not blame the government, because fingers have been that the government is failing. And when you say the government is failing, we are all the government. You and me, we are the government. So don't look at the CS and the PS and say that the government is failing. You as a parent, you as a student, you as a teacher, ask yourself, even in the media. And let me speak about the media. And I'll use a very interesting example here. The school where my child is, my child does not know anything about banning of schools in Kenya right now as we are talking. My child does not know that now, that schools are banning. Why do you think she does not know? It's because the management of the school, the moment they saw what happened in Tumishi, they withdrew the TVs and the newspapers from the students before they realized. But now when you see things coming, then you air on television how, like now that video that was showing how the students were moving, going to set the fire. You know, there are even people, grown-ups, who not even wish to watch that. But the students are watching and they are saying, oh, they are doing this. Why can you also try? So the media has also been very, very careful that they must gauge what to air and what not to air to bring to the public.
So what did you want us to do?
I'm coming to that now.
To
you as the
silent.
media, you as the media, when you come to bring this thing to air, why don't you just come and say that the school has banned and this has happened, but don't show those photos because some of them are very touching.
Okay.
Okay.
What do you want us to show?
You remember?
Okay.
When we had Mandamano in this country, there's a time even the TV stations were shut up because of showing what? How people are killing others. Do you think it's very wise to show people killing others, cutting others with pangas, and the public is watching? That incites people. People get incited that, okay, if they are doing this in Kakamega, why can't we do this in Busia? Why can't we do this in Turkana? So some of those things, we have to take care of that. The other thing is, now, let me come back to these points here. People are calling for closing of boarding schools. We cannot close boarding schools because schools are banning. We must have a solution. We are the government, we are the people, we are the parents, we are the church, everybody. What is the solution that we want to get to stop this kind of thing? Is to get the root cause of what's happening in schools, and people have to be open and speak. Let the school managers tell us, with the students, and then teaching staff in schools, this is what is happening in the schools, and this is why the students are rioting. Are you seeing this? Because Bishop does not live in school. Do you live in school? You are at home. Me, I'm at home, I'm a parent. If anything happens to my child in the school, the first person I'll hold responsible is the principal of the school, telling me what happened to my child. Because when I am at the gate, I give the child in to the hands of the teachers, I go back home. When the child is out of the gate, if anything happens, the principal of the school will ask me, sir, what happened to our student? Explain. So when the child is in school, in the hands of the government, in the hands of the principals, the teachers, and the non-teaching staff, those are the governments in schools. So we have to face those people to tell us the truth. So closing boarding schools, you are going to affect so many innocent students. And Bishop will tell you, there are children from like Transmara, from Migori, where there's a FGM. Those children have nowhere to go, to hide. When the worst comes, or when we have clashes, children only stay in boarding schools. So if you close boarding schools, you are affecting those children. Secondly, in the country, we have only about 40 or 50 schools that have burned down, or that have closed to go for what? To go home because of the skirmishes. Why do we close 120 or 150 other schools that are learning without disruptions right now? Like, why do you close my child's school when they are learning just because the neighbor school has closed? And my child is not even aware of what's happening in that school. Let those that are learning without disruptions, waendelee kusoma, they go on. But those that have closed and have gone home, we have to get a reason why they were closed. And we are saying the principals of those schools must explain. They are the managers of the schools. Let principals become managers of schools and not workers of schools. They are managers. They are directors of schools. They are the CEOs of schools. So anything happening there, they have to explain. Let the teachers who are on duty explain, yes, we're on duty when this happened. So, like now, in Tunisia, we are saying that probably one person was not on duty. Where was this person? That one is coming in. The other thing is the question of having several midterms in one term. A term is 3 months. Now, put in 5 midterms. When are the children going to cover the syllabus? Parents have paid the fees. Are they going to waste paying money to schools where the children are not learning? We want to have, we are suggesting as Parents Association, let us have long weekends come back in schools. And the long weekends only come back where only parents who are able to support their children to go home on Friday and come back to school on Sunday, they can do that. If parents agree that can happen, because parents must be involved, that they want that to happen. So that we avoid the question of saying, children should stay at home for a whole week. They come back, they'll go home this week, they come back next week and they say again, principal, you have to listen to us. If you don't listen, we are going. What will the principal do? So let us not have the students overrule principals. Principals are the managers of schools, they are government employees, and they are professionals, they have been trained. So let them manage the schools and manage the students in the best way. Now, teachers in schools, teachers must take their positions. Let teachers address students as human beings. Let them work with the students. Let them sit with the students, eat with the students, go to the classrooms. I was a teacher, and there was no harm when I was teaching in the classroom for another teacher to come and sit in and just listen to what I'm delivering, to see whether I'm following the syllabus, the schemes of work, and if I'm driving the point at home. And we used to work as a team. When I was in school, the prefects, we used to go. I was in Mango, I used to go to Alliance High School for debates. I used to go to Loreto. I used to go to Mogoiri. We used to go as prefects to discuss how do we maintain discipline among the learners in schools. So those things should come back. The other thing is capitation funding. Capitation, the government is funding schools. And we have always said that the delay of capitation is not that the government is doing that deliberately, because the government has to collect tax before it can give this money to schools. So the money that is paid in terms of capitation comes with the taxpayers' money. Although the money may delay, the reason is that the government must take time to do what? To get this money so that it can give. When it gives, the government gives money that goes to every student. It must share equally. Hata kama ni kidogo, kila mwanafunzi apate kidogo. So it shares that. So the delay that you see is not that the government does that intentionally, it's because of that, those delays in collecting what? The taxes. Use of the capitation funds. The government may give money to schools, but you will find again the boards of management just to go and approve that money to be used. Unasikia the German ako wapi? Ako Dubai kwa business. He's not there in the school to approve the money to be used. So the principal cannot go to the bank and withdraw money alone to spend this money. The other thing is also county and sub-county directors of education must also be held responsible. These are very critical people on the ground. Directors are doing a very good job, but they must work closely with the parents so that they can share ideas, because parents have information. Now, when it comes to the withdrawal of money, I got a complaint from one sub-county that the sub-county director to go to school and approve what's supposed to be approved, it can even take 3 months. And maybe this money is for buying medicine for the students. Now, there's no medicine in the school. That sub-county director has not got to approve that. What's supposed to be approved? What happens now? So an issue. Infrastructure. Quickly let the government involve everybody to go on the ground, not only quality assurance directors, because sending one director to a school, this is a newly employed director, newly employed. He has never been in the field. He doesn't even understand his work, first of all. He's on probation. He's on internship. And he goes to a school alone, and then when he goes to a school alone, he brings a report of an individual. 3, 4, 5 eyes, 20 eyes can see more than one individual. So when they go for inspection, let everybody be involved in that team. Quickly, teacher management. We want TSC to be very, very tough to make sure that teachers are in school when they are supposed to be in school and they are doing what is supposed to be done. There are some schools you walk in, you find that there are no teachers in school. The students are just alone. The students are losing lessons. These are some of the things that are contributing to what you are seeing here. The other thing is examinations. We cannot ban examinations, but I'm banning mocks. Exams called in mocks must be banned because parents are being forced to pay for these exams. And when they pay, the same exams come and they favor a few individuals, not all the students. You find that the rich students will be number 1, 2, 3. But those that come from poor families because they have nothing to share with it, those that are giving exams, that's why you have exam leakages coming in, you'll fear they are always number last. Are they happy? They're not happy. So mock exams must be banned completely from schools. There should be no mock exams. Now, extra levies. Collecting money from parents. Parents have their portion of payment for 3%. When the government is paying 57% of capitation, parents pay for 3%. Now, parents can pay this money in installments at their own wish, pole pole. They have to go to schools and agree they must pay that because that's their part. They have to play that. It's their role. But some parents don't want that. They are saying the education is free. Oh, we have been told by civil societies education is free. They are not saying the government, civil societies. Civil societies are not the ones that are managing education. It's the government. So the government doesn't know when you talk about education being free, they know that. So these extra levies are costing students. For example, when the children are sent at home to go and bring fees, and then a student ends up dying on the road, do you think that's remaining in the school will be very happy? They will not be very happy because one of them has gone home, perished on the road. Quickly, the last one.
Okay.
Containing learners in schools, teaching and learning materials must be supplied on time. Textbooks, like for grade 10 now. We want to have textbooks for this children to be contained. Sharing of textbooks, maybe 1 or 2 students sharing one book, is not all that enough. We want the government to try and see if more textbooks can be sent to schools. Mental wellness of teachers, learners, and non-teaching staffs. Are they? Do we have anyone going to talk to the students, even examining them to understand? Because when look at those students that those that we say the suspects who are lighting that fire. Had someone gone to examine them mentally first of all, if there was an issue with them, but even before that, we should have had psychiatrists in schools, nurses, whatever, talking to these students and telling them this is what should be done. Should be done. Quickly.
Finally,
pocket money. Pocket money is an issue in schools. There are students who go to schools with a bag from home. And I'll say this. What do I mean by bag? There are parents who give their children excess money that has no work. So you find a student in a dormitory with 20,000 or 30,000 in the box, when the neighbor has nothing. Okay? Now, at times when this money now disappears, gets lost from the compound, they are suspects. You may suspect someone who never took that money. And in the first place, a school where children are being given food and everything, why should a student have up to 20,000, 30,000 pocket money? The banks have introduced card systems for the students. And I want to recommend this. The card systems are very good because they even control students from accessing drugs when they go for games and other things outside from those vendors. These vendors who sell sweets, biscuits and where children are going for games. Those people are selling drugs to students. In the school kiosks, around the school kiosks, those things are drugs. We want those things monitored by the security, interior security. We don't want to see kiosks around schools. This was said clearly, but they are still there. School canteens, are they ever inspected by the quality assurance directors to know what is inside? Does anybody go there to inspect? Nobody inspects the school canteens. Who owns these canteens? What are they doing in the schools? These things are causing problems in schools. So the Ministry of Education has to take action immediately and clear those things away from schools.
Okay. The issues that Silas has raised, mostly from the parents. Now, let's listen, because the genuine conversation people are having here, if the parent will ask a child, do you want to go to boarding school or do you want to go to day school? Because they're saying if the teacher can ask those questions and talk to the students and agree and reach an amicable solution, why can the parent not sit down with their own children and address that issue?
Thank you very much. I do not want to belabor the points that have been raised. At the same time, I don't want to respond to what he has raised. I would like to say that we are at a catch-24. We are at a place where we need to ask ourselves difficult questions. Are we going to place blames on the children, on the teachers, on the government, and on the other stakeholders, and not place that same blame on ourselves as parents, as guardians, as big brothers, and as people who are supplying these students to schools? Are we going to say that as a church we exonerate ourselves from what is going on and say we only stand for spiritual issues? Are we going to be saying that we have done enough, or are we going to be saying that there is a lot to be done? I would like to say that our conversation must move away from the issues of blame, the issues of punishment, and get to the rightful understanding of the root causes of what we are dealing with and how we can mitigate, how we can proact. I will still remain there. That what is it that this crisis presents to us an opportunity to do? What is it that we need to do before we experience another one? Because it is not coming to the end. You have just said that in the 50s it was there. In the 70s it was there. In the 80s when we were in school it was also there. And in the 90s it did not stop. It has not stopped in the beginning of this century. And what are we talking about here? We are talking about things that are evolving every time. And when you see a revolution, it means that we refused to understand that there is an evolution. So the same word, evolution, is only added one letter, the letter R. And that's why you find resistance, you find riots, you find unrests, and all this is because we refuse to listen to the evolution steps that have been taking place. I will go back to what I said, the influence of technology, the influence of social media, the influence of the other ways of informing ourselves today. Today, even if you check your phone, there is a new message that has just come in. And maybe it has come in from another place in the world, and it may not be a positive information. I would like to plead to parents that even though we send our children to school, we should also remain part of the children that go to school. We should remain to be part of the development of these children. And we should also take time to do an assessment on how this child is doing physically, socially, intellectually, and spiritually. Because you cannot leave all this work to other actors in the development of the child as a parent and expect to come and do the evaluation at the end. We have to do what is called monitoring. That's why there is monitoring nowadays. It is called monitoring, evaluation, and learning. What have we learned with regards to our children's growth? What have we learned with regards to that child's development when they went to school for the first time, the second time, the second term, the first term? What are the developmental stages that this child has gone through? Because we can always be there pointing fingers at the government, the teachers, and the other actors, and not point these fingers to us. I would like us, who are not in the education system formally, to get involved, even informally. And that's why I also claim that we need and demand that we need a multi-sectoral approach, all stakeholders approach in this issue, so that we don't end up saying that the teachers have failed, the education officers have failed. Of course, there is a level of blame that we can apportion them. But why don't we also critique ourselves and say we needed to have done more? We needed to have acted better. We needed to have, taken our space. I know there are issues of mental health that is affecting the parents, the teachers, the other learning managers. Mental health. Who has even made a program on how the teachers will be helped, how the managers will be helped? Because this is a person with a home. This is a person with other, the issues that they are getting involved in. But here again, they are given another pressure in the name of the profession that they took. They cannot even have maybe time for their children because they are having time for other people's children. And after they have messed, maybe again, this same person who abandoned their children is being blamed for what even has happened without his knowledge, or what just erupted because of other happenings in the country. Mental health is something that we need to look through. And how about the academic stress? The academic stress is another area, an area where he has talked of these mocks, he has talked of this CAT, he has talked of these preps, he has talked of these, I don't know what else they call them, but the issues of remedials and what have you and what have you. Yes, they are very important. I said I will not respond to what he said, but this one I have to. Every learning program, every learning process must have an assessment. And it is not difficult to do it. We did them when we were in school, and it is not bad to have mocks. It is not bad to have remedials. It is not bad to have 1, 2, 3. Because again, if we leave these children without an assessment, and then they wait for the final assessment, which is the exam that will be there, whichever it will be, again, you will not have known where you needed to have added some more effort, and you may not even know how to handle that child with difficulty in learning. I still would want to say, if it is the discipline of how it is the assessments are done, if it is the discipline of how it is funded, if it is the discipline of how 1, 2, 3 should be done, that is what we should address. But we should not say that we are going to remove assessment in the name of cats, the rats, the what. This helps you to understand how this child is doing. The issues around punishment and discipline is another issue that you heard me say. The issue around discipline. We have to really reintroduce a way of understanding the difference between punishment and discipline. Mm-hmm. Yeah? If I spill water on the table, how are you going to handle it? Are you going to take a stroke and begin flogging me? Or are you going to tell me, you know what, this water, even you can slide and fall? That is discipline. But flogging me is punishment, because I will not learn anything from that. But when you handle me with a lot of care, I begin to know that this is a parent who wants me to grow with some morals, with some way of understanding that there are wrongs and there are rights, and there is the way a wrongdoer is supposed to be handled. Somebody mentioned, and I think all of us know, that there are these suspects, the ones that are now going through a legal process to be ascertained whether they did it or they did not do it. Mm-hmm. Many a times, Abdi, you hear us only talk about the victims, the what, and so on, and we leave the offenders. We don't talk to them. We don't talk with them. We don't engage them. Even their parents, they are also going through very tough times. If your child did it or did not do it, if you know that it happened and your child is in the picture, I'm not sure you are happy. Maybe in the public you can throw tantrums the way we saw others do it, but these are still people. They are still people to be counseled. They are still people to be given therapy. They are still people to be understood. As he asked, do we understand what was going in the minds of these children if they are the ones who did it? Mm-hmm. Of course, somebody had to do it anyway. Even the ones that are banning today, somebody is doing it. And even the ones that are inciting other students, there is a student that is doing it. Have we taken time even to understand these children? And have we taken time to understand what these parents are going through? Maybe as at now they are being intimidated, they are being stigmatized all over. Who has taken time to talk to these parents and to know what is going through them? Yeah? If your child is you are raising a child and all of a sudden now the child is become a murderer or has been labeled a murderer, maybe they did it or they did not do it, then what is this that we are doing to ensure that this child and these parents are also handled with care? I would want to say that from where I sit in the church, we want to advocate that we have chaplains in all schools, whether it is Islamic schools, whether it is Hindu schools, whether it is Christian schools. All schools should have chaplains, people who will give a pastoral touch to these children, people who will handle them with a pastoral hand. Personally, I've been a chaplain in an institution. I was a chaplain at the Kenya Police College for 3 good years. And the lessons I learned there are that chaplains play a critical role in the lives of other children, in the lives of other people, in the lives of the institutions. Now, as a chaplain, you are able to handle what the instructors cannot handle. This child or this man or this woman is behaving in a particular way. Mm-hmm. How many recruits did I help in the college? how many instructors did I help in the college as a chaplain? And this is possible. All our schools should have chaplains who are well trained, not just people who think that they have theological knowledge, they can preach a sermon. No. We have to go deeper and have a specified chaplaincy training for all those who have the zeal to do that work, so that when they do it from from a side of knowledge and a side of competency and a side of confidence, and they are able to say, yes, I have moved from the theory and the rumors that I had about chaplaincy to now having the real knowledge, the real competency, and the real confidence to do it. That is what we are advocating for. And it is very important for us to have these chaplains. You may hear people say, we don't have money to pay chaplains, and they must not be teachers, because sometimes you want to pick a teacher who is a CU member, who is a what, and you ask them now to be the chaplains. But you are not willing to give them what is required. And what is required is the training. Training for knowledge, training for skills, training for competency, and training that gives them the confidence that they require. The last one is communication gaps. We know that the principals, the teachers would like to communicate. But sometimes you hear that when people are called, and here PTA should hear this, when people are called to schools, to clinics, to general meetings, the school management always thinks of what more they are going to pay. And so it is not about the discussion around the children, the discussion around the empowerment of the teachers, the empowerment of the parents, the empowerment of the BOMs. Nobody empowers them. And I stand to be corrected if there is anybody who will dare me say that that this does not happen. Every time you go to a school meeting, you'll always hear, add this money, add this money, add this money. So parents go home depressed, and in their depression, they sometimes wanamwagia watoto wao. Wewe ndio unafanya nitoe pesa hii yote, and then by the end of the day, you are not performing in school. So people are not seeing the development of this child and how they are supposed to be developed, minus these extra levies. We cannot be pointing fingers at the government every time you have added this tax, you have added this levy. Of course, they have added more than 26 levies and taxes put together. But what about us when we go to these meetings? School meetings turn into rubber stamping of extra levies for the parents. Of course, when the capitation has not yet come, we are not going to be saying had extra levies, because when the capitation comes, where do you take that money? Please let us be responsible, and let us know, as I say this, that our schools should remain safe learning environments, not centers of conflict, not centers of collecting more levies, not centers of punishments, but centers where our children will grow holistically.
Okay. Given that we're running out of time, Silas, just tell us what can be done to rectify the situation. The damage has already been done. What can the parents, teachers, and the government do right now to address the concerns of the students?
I'll be very quickly because of time. One, parents' empowerment and engagement is very powerful. It's very, very, very important. But parents need to be engaged. They need to be empowered. The Ministry of Education and the government, even the president, should think of how to empower parents' association, give funds to the parents' association, allow them to go and meet parents and empower them, because they have given them that authority to do engagement and empowerment of parents. Quickly, let the children sit and be listened to, as you are saying, communication. The teachers should listen to the students, as the PS said, and another Kenyan is saying right now. But teachers should only listen to what makes sense, not nonsense. I call that nonsense. There are sometimes that we have something that's nonsense, where a student comes and says, unless we dance from evening up to morning, we shall not go to class. We can't allow that one. But when the student comes and says, we want a teacher to be in class on time, that is what we want to hear. That the teacher should be in class on time, teachers should be present in school, all that. Quickly, the learners should understand their business in school is to learn. Not riot, not cause chaos, because they are wasting their time. Exams will come, they like it or not, especially the Form 4s. The exams will come at the same time and it will be done in the whole country. So those that are at home and those that are learning will do the same exams. You'll hear people saying now, this school is not performing and this is performing. This one has stolen exams, this one has not stolen. Those that are at home must know that they are wasting their time. Quickly, the teachers must work with the students. The teachers must work with parents. They must always communicate in between to have the parents understand what is happening, what should be positive, and how they can build that relationship. Principals and teachers must sit together and share responsibilities in a way that is acceptable. You'll go to a school and find that one teacher is having 40 lessons, another one is having 6. So the one of 6 feels that, the one of 40 feels that I'm overburdened. Why is someone having 4 and I'm having 6? They have to look at this share of subjects. Discipline and punishment must have a difference. What is discipline and what's punishment? Transfer of teachers. I'm calling on the Teachers Service Commission to immediately remove online transfer requests. That is present style of managing teachers, micromanaging teachers on transfer online. The transfers online are denying many teachers a chance to get transferred. How a teacher can get, a teacher in Migori can get a teacher in Machakos County to swap? It cannot work. Transfers must be open and teachers must be allowed to go even and work in their homes, especially those that are having families. I have a teacher who has a very, very serious problem, sickness. And now this teacher is in Western, the husband is in Western, the husband is in the coast. The husband is with the children, and the teacher, the female, the mother of the children is teaching in Migori. So the transfers of teachers must be handled with a lot of care. Online transfers have suppressed teachers, they have caused emotional whatever, physical torture, they have caused a lot of mental problems to teachers. We're asking the government to use the retired teachers. We have so many teachers that are retired and they can be used. Those are the teachers that were principals, they were performing, they were understand running of schools. Those teachers can be recalled back and be given a contract in schools as school quality assurance directors in the compound. They live in the school compounds and support the quality assurance directors on the county, sub-county, ministry level. Quickly, visiting of students by parents. Open days in schools must be brought back. So the students, parents can go to schools, access the learners, talk to them on weekends, like that they used to happen. Dorms in boarding schools. Let us not talk about doing away with the boarding schools. Let us have dorm wardens. Let the government employ people who can stay in dormitories with the learners to be in charge of those dormitories. If anything happens, they are the first people to be questioned. Games and sports for relaxation. Let the children not just stay in class that they are in books. Let these guys go out and play football. They go and jump around the field. Give them freedom to do that when they want over the weekend. Avoid preps in the morning the whole day from 6 up to 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. Since are in classes that they are doing preps and they've been in the school the whole week in books reading. Let the weekends be spent on that. 2, the government should ban the sending of students at home from schools.
Allow us to take a short commercial break. We'll be back with your point. Sorry, Silas. We need to pay. We need to pay some bills here, and then we'll come back. Don't worry. We'll give you more time at least to give you your final remarks. Thank you so much. And of course, you can also chime into the conversation through our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 and at Abdiaziz Hashim 2. If you have questions and comments, we'll be posing it to the Reverend and Silas here. So do not be afraid. Just send in your comments and your questions. We're taking a short breather. Don't go too far. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We're still focusing on the schools unrest that we've witnessed for the past few weeks, and now we're trying to look for solutions. Before we went on a short commercial break, Silas, the National Chairman of Parents Association, was speaking to some of what can be done right now, some of the solutions that can be implemented within the institutions so as to see the way forward on addressing this particular concern. Silas, you can continue, but also that question we were talking a little bit earlier on in terms of community accountability for a child, which used to be implemented back in the day. Should that come back now?
when you talk about community child or whatever responsibility, we must understand, we must look at the community and see, are we talking of a community that has a positive picture or a negative picture? Because what children are seeing in the society of late may not be so pleasing for them to do what? You'll find that, of course, it comes back. We may say it can come back. What happens if my bishop here does not know me, and he finds me on the road side with the daughter? We are talking. What are we talking? Because the society is rotten of late. It's not like our days. Things have changed. There are those people that are straightforward and those that are straightforward. So a child cannot just be left to anybody to handle. Let us understand who is dealing with our children, where and what time, for what purpose. To finish up, because of time,
yes,
I had said that let the government recall a number of teachers that have retired, those that were performing and they were managing schools very well. Let them be given responsibilities at an extension of whatever or some kind of contract, and they use them as quality assurance persons within school compounds, so they can live in schools and they can support the school management on how to report about issues of school standards. The other thing is that I was saying, let principals and head teachers not send children at home for whatever causes. And this was put a long time ago by the former PS Belio Sang. There was a circular to that effect, and that circular is still in force. But we are still finding children on roads going home, even for very petty things. Children are going home to bring maragwe, mahindi. Why should the children go and bring maragwe and mahindi, and then at the end of the day you hear again the same maragwe and mahindi has been sold to the boards of management? They are bought from the schools, and the children are going hungry without food. Nurturing of national values, as our president is saying, let us be people that can nurture children and youth and calculate these national values. Non-teaching staffs in schools. There is a very big problem in our schools, especially in boarding schools, even day schools, that the students don't respect non-teaching what? Staff. Depending on how the teachers and the management handle those non-teaching staff members, how they talk about them. A student will look at a toilet cleaner as somebody who is very poor, who has nothing else to do. A toilet cleaner. But failure to have this toilet cleaner in this school, the children cannot stay in that school without toilets having be clean. Yeah. So can we train our children as parents to respect the school, whatever administration, the teachers and teaching staffs and all that, the cooks, the cleaners and the sweepers. Finally, there are schools that always keep on avoiding assemblies. School assemblies are very, very critical because that is where communication of all things that take place in schools take place. But you'll find that a principal goes to a school on the opening day. The next 3 months is only the debut and the senior teachers who are in schools, because some of these principals are out on their own business. So therefore, when the principal is not in school, there's no assembly. And I can assure you, there are children who feel very safe in schools just because of the school assembly. How the principal talks in the assembly, how he stands, how he dresses, or how she dresses and addresses the children, they feel that we have someone we can rely on. Are you seeing this? How they talk and even how they sing and they dance. These are the things we want to see happening in schools. And through these things, a lot of changes will be found. Sure. Thank you.
Reverend, your final remarks.
Good.
And also
so
talk to the people
as I
watching
close, I would say that, as I've said, schools should remain safe environments where learners are able to communicate freely, they're able to be mentored, they're able to see that life is beyond just being in school, and effort is also rewarded. Schools should be centers where somebody leaves that place and says, when I was here, this is what I gained. And allow me to tell you this. In high schools, what happened to you in high schools is what you remember most. I'm not sure you remember what happened in the university.
Nothing.
Because people have been to several universities and you hear nobody talk about those universities unless they are bragging. But when you hear somebody talk about where they gained the discipline, where they gained the mentorship, where they were able to be taken as people, although there were punishments here and there, we were able to be mentored in high schools. Can this come back? Can we have a flashback and say, yes, something used to happen, and if it happens in a better way, then our children will be safer and will be okay. the safety and the well-being of our children must be non-negotiable. In schools, at homes, in the community, the safety and the discipline of our children must not be negotiable. And this is where community handling of children comes in. When we were growing, the other neighbor's child was still my child. The child I meet on the road was still my child. I would handle them with dignity. I would also handle them as people who I don't know what God holds for their future, but I can comfortably say that God intends them to be better people. And so what am I saying? I'm saying that as at now, we need to bring back some of those values. We need to bring back some of those interventions where parents would not talk to children to lure them into immorality. The older people should not be talking to these people to lure them into other, ills in the society. I know in the Islamic faith, when a parent finds something wrong with the child, they will always say, I will report you to the what? To the Mwalimu wa Madras.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Even during our time, you will be reported to the Sunday school teacher. You will be reported to Mwalimu. So let's bring back some of these values. They served us and they have become a virtue in our lives. Thank you very much. May God bless
allow me to say
Kenya.
this.
May God bless our children.
Yes.
May God bless our parents and the school management, from the board to the principals to the teachers. Just know that we are with you in this and we feel what you feel. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will finish up quickly.
Okay.
Two things. Let schools embrace alumni associations. They can support the students and even infrastructure and all those things. The other point, let schools also embrace the rewarding system of the students. Reward a student. When you're talking to a student, confirm that if actually it's punishment. Instead of caning the child, tell the child, don't repeat again what you've done, but you can have this pen and you can change. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That is Silas Obuhatsa, the National Chairman of Parents Association. Also Dr. Reverend, that is Elias Agola, the Chairman of the National Council of Churches of Kenya. Gentlemen, thank you for your time and hopefully you've gotten something out of it. The parents and learners who are currently at home watching us right now, you've gotten a bit of wisdom from these two gentlemen here. And of course, it will inform of how the schools will be operating in the coming days, as and when we get the latest from the Ministry of Education and other key institutions and stakeholders in the education sector. Will be sharing it with you. But for now, we want to focus on the cabinet and look a little bit in the past on how various administration used to run through that particular endeavor. Especially this particular morning, we're looking at James Oburu Karugu, former Attorney General of Kenya, and then we'll be back with more.
James Foro Karugo was born in 1937 in Churo Village, Kabete, in Kiambu District. He attended Mangu High School before traveling to the U.S., where between 1958 and 1962, he studied history and political science at Ohio State University. His father had sold family land to support his education, hoping he would pursue a distinguished academic career. But Karugo's path shifted after his undergraduate studies. Inspired by the Kapenguri trial of Jomo Kenyatta, he traveled to London, where in 1964 he qualified as a barrister at law at Lincoln's Inn. On his return to Kenya, he joined the Attorney General's chamber, marking the beginning of a steady rise through the country's legal establishment. He was appointed Senior State Counsel 1967, and 3 years later he became Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions. Serving under Attorney General Charles Mogane Jonjo poised him as Sir Charles' preferred successor when he left office in 1980 for elective politics. Karugo's ascension to AG was beset by serious legal and security challenges. The controversial shoot-to-kill directive issued by his predecessor against violent robbers sparked outrage in Parliament and the public. In a measured approach, Karugo cautioned against the misuse of firearms by police, while affirming the illegal authority to use necessary force to prevent crime. This restored calm, albeit briefly, before the storm kicked by the murder of a Kenyan woman, Monica Njeri, in Mombasa by an American sailor, Frank Joseph Sandstrom, in 1980. The High Court's reduction of the charge to manslaughter and releasing Sandstrom on a nominal bond further incensed the public. Karugu took the rare step of openly criticizing the court's decision. He told Parliament that in his dissatisfaction, he would have appealed had the law allowed him to do so. This stance signaled his commitment to justice. Soon after, his office charged Jonjo's relative Andrew Muthemba with treason. The case, however, collapsed, with the court criticizing the investigation. His fallout with the judiciary strained Karugu's relationship with powerful figures in government. His independence would be tested again when police sought his approval to charge journalists arrested over a newspaper report. Karugu declined, citing no legal basis for prosecution, and the journalists were released. This angered senior political figures, and Karugu was increasingly seen as a man unwilling to bend the law, even under political pressure. After just 15 months in office, he resigned. President Moi accepted his resignation and appointed Joseph Kamere as his successor. Karugu left office quietly without public explanation. Despite his brief tenure, his impact was significant. During his time as Attorney General, the Land Control Act was introduced, empowering local elders to resolve rural land disputes. He also introduced reforms to the Civil Procedure Act, banning the manufacture and sale of chang'aa. After leaving office, Karugu withdrew from public life, retreating to his Kiamara coffee estate near Kiambu. Though his tenure was the shortest of any Kenyan Attorney General, James Foro Karugu is remembered as a principled lawyer who upheld the rule of law in one of Kenya's most politically sensitive periods. Jackie Wambiru, The Cabinet.